A Florida man strangles his wife after she turns down his religious video. A Florida man says his heroin is actually Guatemalan chili powder. A dead Florida man's corpse rotted on a celebrity cruise ship on the way back to the States. And a Florida teacher is under investigation for showing a Confederate video to the children. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News, the only daily weird news podcast in the galaxy, and the only daily weird news podcast that does Florida Friday. That's right. On Friday, we only do weird news from Florida. It's so much fun. Come on, let's have some fun together, making fun of Florida as we do. A Florida man strangles a woman who turned down the volume. We have in this story a Tamarack, Florida man. He had to be arrested. He's charged with domestic battery by strangulation. It's a very specific type of domestic battery by strangulation. Now, in Florida, we get a lot of domestic battery by thrown objects. I've covered a pizza was thrown at someone, a burrito, even glitter. A man was attacked by glitter. This is strangulation. This man choked a woman that asked him to turn down the volume on a religious video that he was watching. Sounds like a religious fellow, extremely religious. I believe they call them zealots. You don't want to turn down the religious video that a zealot is watching because they need that. They need to take that in on a daily. And they might get a little violent if you turn down the volume on the religious video, which isn't what Jesus would do. I mean, oftentimes these religious zealots ask themselves, what would Jesus do? And this guy came up with strangulation as a way to deal with the issue. The Broward County Sheriff's Office had to respond to a domestic violence call in which the victim alleged having been strangled by a Florida man who was later identified as Leroy Jackson, age 53. He's a church-going fella, likes to strangle people. According to the report, the victim told the deputies that the altercation began when she asked Mr. Jackson, the Florida man who loves Jesus, to please lower the volume of the religious Jesus video that he was watching on his cell phone while she was trying to sleep. You know, I can't say that I blame her. That's an odd time to be watching a religious video when your partner's trying to sleep right next to you. Those videos tend to be loud. There's a lot of boisterous pontificating in those videos from what I've seen, and sometimes singing, and the singing can be very loud. Not easy to sleep next to a very loud video being played of a religious ceremony of some sort. Now, the report says the victim told law enforcement that the verbal argument escalated to a physical altercation, as they normally do when you're dealing with a Florida man. Jackson grew very angry at her request to turn down the Jesus video. She told the police she pushed Jackson away, but he responded by placing both hands on her neck and squeezing to the point of restricting her airflow. In case you didn't know what strangulation meant, they defined it for you here in the police report. The Florida man was taken to the county jail for loving Jesus too much, it seems. And we'll find out how devoted he is after this if he goes to confession and tries to acquire some penance for the strangulation. I highly doubt it'll happen. And he might not even be Catholic, so that the confession thing might not happen either. That seems to be just a Catholic thing that I had to suffer through, and I'm still dealing with confessional booth PTSD. A Florida man says, "This isn't heroin, this is my bag of Guatemalan chili powder." And thus, a new street name for heroin is born, Guatemalan chili powder. Following in the footsteps of the all-too-popular Bolivian marching powder. You guys know about that one. Well, now we have Guatemalan chili powder. I don't recommend it in your chili, or maybe I do. Depends on whether or not you want to have a weekend. It says here, being in the business of following stories from all around the world, documenting stupid criminals and their horrible excuses and bad attempts at breaking the law, you'd think that we would have heard and seen it all by now. But yet there's a Florida man who's come up with a new excuse that no one's ever heard before. The police claim that 34-year-old Florida man Daniel Asensio Barrera was pulled over on Thursday evening as he drove in Clearwater, Florida. Right off the bat, Daniel was initially arrested for driving with a permanently revoked driver's license, because that never stops a Florida man from driving. My revoked driver's license, come on, man. That's not going to stop me from getting on the road. Neither will an entire case of Pabst Blue Ribbon. After the arrest, a search of the Florida man's vehicle was conducted. which turned up a large clear bag with 30 grams of some sort of powder. The mixture in the bag, sure enough, tested positive for heroin during the field test conducted by the officers on the scene. Officers read the Florida man his rights, and he told the officers, quote, his family sent this to him from Guatemala and that he thought it was chili powder. He had no idea it was heroin. He thought it was chili powder made of only the finest white chilies in all of the land. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen chili powder before. I have, and it's red or pinkish. It doesn't look anything like heroin, but, you know, Florida man believes in himself, and they're very confident. They think that they can, talk a cat off a fish truck, so this is what you get. It says here, along with the charge of driving with a permanently revoked driver's license, Florida man Daniel was also charged with narcotics trafficking. Daniel is facing a probation violation because he was driving without a license that was approved, and trafficking heroin, which is not approved either. This all stems back to a prior DUI conviction, by the way, the license situation, it says in the article. So this guy's got a history of driving on revoked licenses and apparently telling the world that his drugs are spices that you can make chili with. In the off chance that he actually believed that this was Guatemalan chili powder, it's a good thing the authorities stepped in, because the last thing we want is this man preparing his famous 3-bean chili for the kids, and then, ends up being a very strong chili, strong in a way that you wouldn't be expecting. Is it very spicy? No, not so spicy? Oh, you're all taking naps. Oh, yeah, I used the wrong spice, I think. Or maybe it was the right spice. Yay! A Florida woman is suing a cruise ship for keeping her dead husband's corpse in a drink cooler. An elderly passenger died of a heart attack during a celebrity cruise vacation to the Caribbean. Caribbean cruise, where your husband has just died, and we put him in the drink cooler. The cruise line allegedly advised his wife of 2 options. So they gave her some options. That she could allow her husband's remains to be removed from the ship in nearby Puerto Rico, where she would have to stay alone for days pending a possible autopsy in Puerto Rico, or her other choice was to leave his body with the ship's morgue until the vessel arrived back in the United States. From my understanding, most of these cruise ships do have a morgue and a cooler to keep a body in. Now, this woman decided that she would trust the ship to safely transport her husband of 55 years back to their home state of Florida to be prepared for funeral services. 6 days at sea passed as the Celebrity Equinox cruise chugged back to its port in Fort Lauderdale. When the ship arrived, a local funeral home employee came aboard to retrieve the body of her husband, but it was nowhere to be found in the morgue. Instead, the corpse was located on a pallet on the floor of the beverage cooler, where it was left to turn green and deteriorate into an advanced state of decay. And at that point, you can't really have an open casket, unfortunately. The funeral employees saw drinks also placed outside of the icebox turned mortuary, according to the complaint. The wife is asking for $1 million in damages from the cruise line. The family members, she claimed, were very, very upset about the condition of the body when it arrived in Florida. The lawsuit claims this indignity could have been avoided if the cruise ship staff had monitored the condition of the morgue before advising the wife on her options in handling her husband's remains. If she had known the morgue was not in working order, she would have had her husband's body taken off the ship in Puerto Rico. Oh, so turns out the morgue's cooler was not operable, so they put the body in with the beverages in the beverage cooler. Well, from my understanding, and I did a little research on this for the article, the cooler that you keep a body in is about the same temperature that you would keep drinks in anyways, somewhere around 35 degrees, 32 to 40 degrees. So the body probably wouldn't have lasted in the morgue cooler as well for 6 days. They should have informed her of all of this, though. She needed all that information before making the decision, because had she known that it was 6 days and this is what would have become of the corpse in 6 days, she might have opted to stay in Puerto Rico at that point. Now, according to the documents here, it says it's very clear that the man's body was actually stored at an improper temperature in the drink cooler aboard the Equinox, given that it had expanded and turned green. The funeral home staff in Fort Lauderdale was unable to salvage the remains enough to be suitable for an open casket wake and funeral, which was a long-standing family custom and was what his family had desired, according to the lawsuit. The article goes on to say that most contemporary cruise ships are legally required to have morgues on board, though regulations vary. The report indicates that some large cruise vessels maintain a morgue with enough room for as many as 10 bodies, along with a stock of body bags. It says here, having had to store many bodies on their ships and even being required to have a working morgue on board this particular ship, celebrities certainly knew of the potential need for a working morgue on the ship and the temperatures at which dead bodies need to be stored to stop the decomposition process from occurring, the lawsuit states. Well, I'd like to think that I could make something funny out of this story, but I'm really at a loss for any humorous approaches to this. It's a very sad situation when your loved one's corpse decomposes like this and you can't have a proper wake or a funeral as you originally would have planned. I guess the good thing is this guy died doing something fun, which is being on a cruise ship. You know, maybe he was at the buffet when he passed away. You always want to die doing something that you love, they say. For me, I'm probably going to die in this closet recording this podcast because I just love it. Now, I hope that my roommate would find my body in a reasonable amount of time because my closet isn't at the right temperature to store a corpse. I would probably decompose in a matter of days. It's so damn hot in the closet. Yeah. But, you guys could buy me coffee for my funeral. That'd be pretty sweet. Or send flowers, man. Send flowers. Would you like to easily create and distribute a podcast everywhere, even earn money all in one place for free? Well, try Spotify for Podcasters. Record and edit on your phone or computer. You can send it to Spotify and everywhere podcasts are heard. They even have video podcasting options as well. Spotify for Podcasters allows you to earn money with ads and subscriptions. Best of all, it's free. Try it. Download Spotify for Podcasters or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. And good luck with your podcast. Good luck with your life, man. A Florida teacher shows the students a pro-Confederate video. We have a teacher at the Collier County School facing some backlash from parents after showing a video celebrating Confederate History Month to the entire school. Oh, I didn't even know it was Confederate History Month, guys. Oh, I'm so behind. April's Confederate History Month. I totally forgot. I like to celebrate Confederate History Month by, flying my flag and telling everybody how I wish we could just own people. Could we just own people? Come on, man. I'm going to go another year without owning people? Come on, it's my birthday. Can't I own a few people? Just want to own a few. Not too many. Just a family. Can I just own a family? It's my birthday. Come on. Confederate History Month. Now, the article says this Confederate video aired as part of the morning announcements on Tuesday at a middle school. Here's a quote from the teacher in the video. If you didn't know, April is an officially celebrated month here in the state of Florida called Confederate History Month. Every year, our state celebrates and memorializes that valiant, brave fight and the countless sacrifices by our men and women during what was known as that Civil War. Now, the school district isn't identifying the teacher, but they say they are investigating. You should identify this teacher, by the way. This is why are comedians getting shamed online for their jokes, but this teacher doesn't get to get shamed online for showing pro-Confederate videos to a whole entire school of children? This person should be shamed too. Should be canceled. We cancel comics, but we can't cancel a teacher like this. Seems unfair to me. It says here, parents called this pro-Confederate propaganda. Yeah. Casey Smith is a parent in the area. Casey says, it was very biased seeming. The Confederacy, as far as I'm concerned, has always been a stain on American history. Another parent named Annie said, to me, it looks like straight out of a Confederate sympathizer playbook. At one point in the video, the teacher suggests a different name for the Civil War. Yeah, we should call the Civil War something else. How about WrestleMania 2? That sounds way better. Here's the quote from the video from the teacher. The Civil War, but maybe more correctly titled, The War to Prevent Southern independence. Now, Casey Smith, one of the parents, responded, no, it is the Civil War. It's called the Civil War. It's always been called the Civil War, which is true. Parents told the media they have no problem talking about slavery, the Civil War, or our nation's darkest days. The issue they have is with what the teacher made up and put in the video and then showed to the children. Smith says, quote, they spoke about celebrating the Confederacy in the state of Florida. Yeah. O'Donnell, whose kids don't go to Manatee Middle School, said it's important for kids to learn about our nation's history, but not in a way like this. She said, doing it accurately, holistically, fully, I would find it difficult to imagine that the students here are going to be able to trust this particular teacher ever again. Now, the county school districts stepped forward and said that the instruction of Confederate History Month is not a part of the district's curriculum whatsoever, and they wouldn't identify who the teacher is, but a spokesperson say they are still employed while the school investigates. I love how they let these wayward teachers still have their job while they investigate. What? This is one of the only professions where you can be a menace and they still let you do your job while they investigate. They do this with police as well, who act out of line, it seems to me. Now, in case you didn't know, the state of Florida does, in fact, recognize April as Confederate History Month. I was unaware of this. Several movements in recent years have failed, it says, but it doesn't say what those movements were. We can imagine what those movements are. In Florida, the birthdays of Robert E. Lee and Jefferson Davis, along with Confederate Memorial Day, are all considered state legal holidays. Yay, Florida!
Yay! This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. What's new with United? Well, 2 new planes a week, that's what. But what does that mean? It means new and redesigned planes with things like larger overhead bins with room for everyone's roller bag, power outlets at every seat, screens at every seat, and the ability to connect your Bluetooth headphones to those screens. Plan your trip today at united.com or on their award-winning app. This amount is an estimated average of current aircraft delivery schedules. Final delivery schedule subject to change.
Hello, my loyal listeners and dear friends of the podcast. I appreciate all of you spending some time with me on this Florida Friday episode. I hope you're having a great weekend, or you had one, or you're about to have one. I don't know what your plan is. But Florida Fridays are always there to lead you into the weekend or start your Monday on a good foot as well, as we all celebrate the fact that we're not living in Florida. Although some of us are living in Florida. And for those of us who are living in Florida, I just want to say a prayer for all the people who listen to this podcast who live in Florida. Just good luck. Good luck with your life, man. You need it. I want to give thanks to Patrick, who bought me coffee on my website, weirdafnews.com. Patrick bought me a coffee for my birthday and wrote, "Happy birthday, Jonesy. I've been listening to the Weird AF podcast for a few months now and have been really enjoying it. Good luck with your life, man. Not that you need it." Yeah, Patrick, we all need luck in our life. You too, buddy. You need luck in your life too. So you know what? You know what you get? Good luck with your life, Patrick. You get that. Thanks for buying me coffee, showing support, and wishing me a happy birthday. Also wanted to give a shout out to Ed from Jersey, who also bought me coffees and wants me to have good luck with my life too. So Ed is a OG fan of the show for years and years and years. So big shout out to Ed from Jersey, always coming through. Big supporter of Weird AF News. We love you, Ed. What else? Oh yeah, I'm still in Vegas, but going to be heading back. So it was a good time here. And I want to thank everybody who reached out to me while I was here celebrating my birthday to wish me a happy birthday and to buy me coffees and join the Patreon and show support for me on my birthday. It was pretty overwhelming. I was like blown away by all of the gratuitous support. So yeah, I want to thank you guys very much for making my birthday amazing. And it's been a good time in Vegas. Thanks to everyone who came out to shows and whatnot. We'll do it again sometime. Come back to Vegas, probably not in the summer because I don't want to go up in flames. But yeah, maybe like when it cools down in September or something, come back here, do another run. What else? I guess that's it. I'm hungover per usual since I've been here, but worth it. It's so worth it. So very worth it. I love you guys, and I thank you. And we'll see you this week. If you want to call the show because you were triggered, Call 646-450-2012. You can email me as well, funnyjones@gmail.com. Join the Patreon. That's pretty cool. You can join the Patreon, patreon.com/weirdafnews. Or go to weirdafnews.com for all of that stuff. All right. Good luck with your life, man.